Hey, you're back. Well, after all these videos, I hope you have had a break or two away from them. We have one more set to run through for this lesson, however, so hang in there. It might help that this last video series is the one that applies most directly to what you will be doing over the next few lessons. But just like the wisdom in coming back and revisiting the videos about the analytical report as you get closer to work on it, and especially as you are working through the particular sections of it discussed in the videos, please take advantage of these videos and revisit the ones you are about to see on your proposal too, especially as you work through that assignment and all the documents that we discuss on these videos as well. So if we look at the proposal that we're going to review as a sample in this video, right away you will notice that although the proposal does share many of the same features as the more formal analytical report, it is a less formal document and does not include all the front matter and full-scale design elements found in the analytical reports. Note, for example, that it doesn't have a title page, but instead it has a memo type heading. Likewise, it doesn't contain any table of contents or front matter, but as we've already discussed, you will need to provide some kind of contextual and content forecast introduction into any type of semi-formal document of sizable length, such as this one. If you take a closer look at this writer's introduction, you'll find that the writer does create cohesion often by utilizing exact heading terms, but doesn't necessarily do so consistently at this point in the semester. So everything appears in this introduction that follows in the document, but not necessarily in the order it appears, and sometimes not the exact heading terms as they appear later on. So that is something that's kind of common at this point in the semester, but it is something you do want to think about and work toward at this point in the semester. Okay, now, as we scroll down here a little bit, remember when we reviewed the proposal assignment prompt, we took a look at the list of content and sections of information that needed to be included, but I also discussed with you two things about that list of sections. And the first one was that whenever possible, I asked you to try to use more specific descriptive heading titles than the ones listed to increase usability and readability and actually cohesive aspects of the document too, if you think about it. And secondly, that organization and structure of the information was up to you, but that you should try to be more efficient and make the document at the same time more usable by reordering and reorganizing the sections and using multiple heading levels than keeping them all on the same heading level as they are listed in the assignment prompt. The reason why I bring all of this up is because that is exactly what this writer has done to a certain extent here. And that is what we will want you to start thinking about as well. The first section after the introduction, for example, which isn't labeled introduction, by the way, if you notice, the first section is labeled Penn State Harrisburg. And then we have one that's labeled web page navigation. And then we have criteria for evaluation. And then we have drop-down versus sidebar navigation. Now, the first observation I would make is that because this writer has begun utilizing descriptive headings, I already know a great deal about the proposal just by looking at the headings. I know, for instance, that the proposal has something to do with the choice between drop-down and sidebar navigation for Penn State Harrisburg's web pages. And I haven't read anything in the proposal at all but the first few main level headings. Contrast that, for example, with the same proposal if instead the writer would have used the standard heading terms utilized or presented to you in the assignment prompt, which were description of proposed case study, analysis of the client's problem, situation, and choices, I'll leave it at that. Now, by the same token, the writer doesn't do so well with this same thing in the audience section, where the second level headings are not very specific, but rather the generic categories primary, secondary, and tertiary. Wouldn't this work better if the first one was, for example, the IT department? And I would add IT department head to make it a realistic audience group or group member for this project. Or, for instance, the secondary one. This doesn't really tell me anything, but if it was called Penn State Harrisburg's Chancellor Mukund Kulkarni, and so on, you get the idea. As we discussed when looking at the job packet samples, though, keep in mind that developing your business writing and communication skills will be an ongoing process, as I hope you have found the act of writing itself to be. This whole adventure is one big learning process, as a matter of fact, and take it from one who still learns new things all the time, and I never want to stop doing it. It is definitely a good journey to take. Well, with that in mind, though, this writer does do an excellent job with the first several headings of the proposal here. As I mentioned, the heading titles are very descriptive in the beginning and offer the reader much information at a glance. This is good business communication. We learn much about the situation that exists, which requires analysis for a choice to be made in the web page navigation section. And that section is possible because of the context provided about Penn State Harrisburg in the section bearing that heading title name. This is good work at this stage in the semester and your development as business communicators. You will also see that the proposal has several heading titles that probably will remain fairly similar in almost everyone's proposals, such as criteria, citation style, etc. And here, criteria for evaluation works well. We can also see in this section that the writer is beginning to transfer some of those devices you have utilized in your job packets and previous cover memo for it, etc., like the use of bullets or italics. And in the next section, you will notice that this writer is about to break into second level headings and a more complex document structural design, and prefaces those second level heading sections with a cohesive introduction here that incorporates a cohesive forecast of drop-down navigation and sidebar navigation, which happen to be the exact second level heading terms and sections that follow in the order they appear in the introduction.